Hi guys, it's Lori from Home Right. It is a hot one today here in central North Carolina. Our temperatures are going to hit 97 with a heat index of 100 to 104. So not only are we in a heat wave, but we are also battling a drought. Most of the fruits and vegetables can handle temperatures in the 80s to 90s, but plants are going to struggle in the high 90s to 100. You can see in this plant right here, he is struggling. Yes, he still has fruit, but he is really struggling with the hot temperatures. I'm going to give you our tips for managing extreme heat to help your plants cope if you're dealing with a heat wave. So tip number one is watering. Obviously, in the hot and humid weather, your plants will need more water just to keep them healthy. The best time to water is early in the morning. I did just go ahead and water these guys, but these poor shallots are just struggling in this heat. We have an automatic watering system that goes on every morning, and each one of our beds basically gets watered for about 30 minutes. Sometimes it's shorter when the beds need less watering. Keith will come out and adjust the time, or sometimes it's more if the bed needs a deeper soak. For our drip irrigation, we also use drip lines. This actually also helps because we're not watering the leaves, we're getting the water to the soil, which will get to the roots, which is exactly what the plants need. The less watering that goes on the leaves helps prevent diseases. The best and easiest way to check how your soil is doing is the finger test. Just check to see how wet your soil is. We also need to keep an eye on our container plants, as some of these plants may need to be watered twice a day. What Keith had done is he moved all of our plants that were up on the back deck, the front deck, and we moved them all down here so that we can keep an eye on them with the watering system. At least until we get through this heat wave. So you may also notice even on tomato plants that they curl up like this. This is actually a natural process of the tomato plants to protect themselves in this extreme heat. So tip number two is shade. We're using a shade cloth of, I think it's 40% shade cloth. This can really help your plants, especially in the middle of the day when the heat is at its highest point. A lot of plants like tomatoes, beans, and peppers will drop their flowers while they're coping with this heavy heat because they're just trying to deal with this extreme heat. It's kind of like survival mode for them. We know we're actually going to lose some of these plants. We know it's just way too stressful on these plants, and we might lose a few plants here and there. I know Keith has already gone in here and really trimmed back some of the dead leaves on the zucchinis and pulled out the ones that really aren't performing. And they're just kind of dying off. Even some of the cucumbers aren't looking so great. Tip number three is actually harvesting. If we go ahead and harvest the fruit or the pods on the plant, it will actually help save the energy, not working towards the fruit, but for the rest of the plant. Not only that, on some of these fruits you can actually pull them when they're not quite ripe, and we'll just let them go ahead and ripen inside. So on a previous video I talked about these plants where we pulled out all of the tomatoes. We had San Marzanos here and we had Roma tomatoes there. We pulled them all out and we just replanted with a whole bunch of plants that we had. Little of everything going on here. We have a couple of our fig trees, serrano pepper, fig tree, bay leaf, hot pepper, another hot pepper, serrano pepper, a couple of tomatoes over here. I think these are new Romas that Keith had started. Which leads me now to my next tip, which is mulch. You can't forget about the mulch because mulch actually helps keep your soil nice and cool. We actually use a leaf mulch, but you can go ahead and use compost or straw or pine needles. It doesn't matter. As long as you got your dirt covered, you're protecting your soil. These are just a few tips that Keith and I have been using in this extreme heat and drought of the summer. And I'm sure you guys have some more tips to help keep your plants staying cool. So please share your tips in the comments below so that others can benefit from your successes in the garden. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the latest videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next video.